Well, ladies and gentlemen, it would seem as if radically progressive Somalian Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has just found herself in a $250 million world of trouble, and no, I'm not joking. You see, during the recent pandemic, a Minnesota-based organization called Feeding Our Future had claimed that it was using federal pandemic recovery money in order to serve food to starving children. But as it would turn out, they were actually lying about all of that, defrauding all of us American taxpayers to the tune of $250 million. In fact, take a look at this.
In December of 2021, the FBI installed a surveillance camera overlooking this building just off Lake Street in Minneapolis. At the time, it was Safari Restaurant, which overall took in $12 million in federal child meal payments through Feeding Our Future. Safari's former co-owner, Salim Saeed, is on trial alongside Amy Bach, the Feeding Our Future executive director. Safari claimed to feed 4,000 to 6,000 kids a day. Its invoices and meal counts shown to the jury alongside the video. An FBI agent testifying that an average of 40 people came and went during the 6 weeks it was surveilled. The FBI set up a total of 12 cameras at sites claiming to serve extraordinary numbers of meals. Another was at a deli in St. Paul, also registered by defendant Salim Saeed, which claimed 1,800 meals per day. The video, shown to the jury, showed an average of 23 people a day coming and going. The jury was shown dozens of invoices, meal counts, and emails seized from Feeding Our Future's headquarters in St. Anthony. Some showed links to websites that randomly generated names and ages to create rosters of children who were served meals. Many were signed or sent by Amy Bach, who's charged with wire fraud, along with bribery for the alleged kickbacks that she received. Her defense attorney tried to raise doubt when it cross-examined the FBI agent, that they didn't see the back entrance where it's possible meals left packed in trucks for delivery. He pushed back, insisting they'd still see congestion. To that volume, he said, I would say it would not make any sense.
And of course, to anyone with half a brain, it doesn't make any sense either, and that's because they were lying. Now, this fraud group, Feeding Our Future is what it was called, was actually quite a large and elaborate operation and operated out of several different locations, one of which was Safari Restaurant. Now, worth noting, this group consisted of well over 70 Somalian immigrants, all of which have been similarly indicted and given federal charges. And so, folks, it was this very organization, Feeding Our Future, that Representative Ilhan Omar was directly involved with. In fact, at one point, she was pretty much the public face of the entire organization altogether, even showing up at their headquarters, Safari Restaurant, to help promote the entire fraud ring. But hey, if you don't believe me, take a look at this.
horta aad iyo aad aan ugu faraxsanahay in maanta Safari aan soo gaarnay. Safari in ay tahay meelaha sayti oo diyaarinooyo cunto maalin kasto. Maalintii kaliyo Safari waxay ay cunto siisaa 2,300 oo ciyaal ah iyo familkooda.
And so, folks, there you have it. That right there was Congresswoman Ilhan Omar promoting the fraud organization Feeding Our Future at their Somalian cuisine headquarters, Safari Restaurant. Also that they could go on to defraud American taxpayers out of right around $250 million in total. But you know what? This entire situation gets even worse than that. You see, the next component of this entire story gets absolutely insane, almost unbelievable even. But before we take a look at that, I do want to say real fast that if you folks enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a lot. But okay, check this out. You see, the only reason this fraudulent organization, Feeding Our Future, was able to receive any federal taxpayer money in the first place is because of a piece of 2020 legislation called the Meals Act, which allocated money from the federal government towards humanitarian groups just like Feeding Our Future. And now, folks, can you guess who authored, drafted, and proposed this Meals Act? That's right, Ilhan Omar. She proposed the legislation that allowed for this fraudulent charity to receive money from the federal government. Then she personally promoted this fraudulent charity as it was stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from all of us federal taxpayers. Ladies and gentlemen, the amount of premeditated fraud here is really absolutely astounding, and it clearly shows that Ilhan Omar had a longitudinal plan to draft up this legislation, then work with all of her Somalian immigrant constituents back in Minnesota in order to steal money from the federal government. And by the way, keep in mind, where does all of that federal money come from? Well, that's right, all of us hardworking taxpayers. But you know what? Somehow this entire situation actually still gets even worse. You see, at least 3 of these federally charged Somalian immigrants that were involved in the Feeding Our Future fraud ring were also, guess what, campaign donors to Ilhan Omar. Which would mean that not only did she propose the legislation that allowed for all of this fraud to happen, and not only did she personally promote the fraud, but she also financially benefited from this entire fraudulent situation as well. And now, folks, as we continue to break all of this down, I do want to say something real quick here. Not only is this entire situation just ethically and morally rotten to the core, but also it's just completely incompetent. According to the court paperwork, it says that Feeding Our Future claimed to feed over 3.9 million individual children in total. Folks, let the record show there are only 1.3 million children in the entire state of Minnesota. A basic Google search would have confirmed that. What's more, all the FBI had to do was place some cameras outside of Feeding Our Future's various fraudulent locations in order to see how egregiously they were lying, and as it turned out, they were lying and inflating their numbers by a factor of like 100. So as they say, crime doesn't pay, especially if your criminal organization has a collective IQ of 70, that is 1 IQ point for each Somalian immigrant that you've got inside of the organization. But now, as it would seem, all of this pressure is beginning to rattle Ilhan Omar. Take a look.
I mean, I have no worry. I don't know how they take away my citizenship and like deport me, but I don't even know like why that's such a scary threat. Like, I'm not the 8-year-old who escaped war anymore. I'm grown. My kids are grown. Like, I can go live wherever I want.
And now, folks, let me ask all of you a real quick question. Why do you think that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar is talking about all of this? Getting deported, that is. It's because she's absolutely petrified that all of her anti-American behavior is finally starting to catch up with her. From saying that white men are this nation's biggest national security threat, yes, she has said that, to marrying her own brother to engage in immigration fraud, yes, she did that, to promoting the Feeding Our Future fraud ring, she's scared that she is in fact going to end up getting deported. And I'll tell you what, the fact of the matter is this. We should not allow criminal immigrant gangs from Somalia, or anywhere else in fact, to defraud American taxpayers, and we most certainly should not allow their beneficiaries, like America-hating Somalian Ilhan Omar, to serve in our House of Representatives. So you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Somalian Representative Ilhan Omar absolutely should get denaturalized, she should lose her U.S. citizenship, and then she should be deported back to Somalia. Because I'll tell you what, that is what it's going to take to actually put America first.